Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanma Vavatu Tad Vaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So that's a complete synergy working with this. From what we are doing in Bhagavad. That's exactly what it's saying. It's saying that this person, the reality is the core of a man and the reality in the sun is the same. It's telling the essence is the same. It's exactly same thing. And they have taken an approach of this person transcend the world. How? By transcending the koshas. Kosha, isko bolte hain pancha vivek, pancha kosha vivek. In this thing. I mean, these 5 koshas are there. How to transcend these? I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, but I am that Atma. So that's how you can look at it, this verse. So Swamiji was explaining that this transcending you can do while in the body. That's what his main thing he is trying to stress upon. And he said there are some people, some branch of philosophy which believes that you have to die to get a moksha, and Bhagavad Gita and the Shankaracharya's thing and all that. No. Jivan Mukti you can have. You can experience that bliss. Remember, that's why they, again and again, they keep repeating that previously, that bliss is the same. They talked about the bliss of, what you call Indra and Prajapati and up to Brahmaji. That same bliss you can get by studying the Shastras and establishing in this. So that's how, remember that part. And now you can read it.
We have no belief in or use for the promise of a posthumous perfection which we may after our death come to enjoy. Unlike the Semitic religions, Vedanta is not satisfied by merely promising a postmortem discovery of the divine. Being practical men, the Aryans demanded and worked for redemption, a sure and a certain redemption here and now. This is clear from the words that follow in the Shruti. Following the expression, after leaving from this world, the Shruti, as it were, comments upon our own terms very elaborately.
So he's just... Sorry, okay, you can read the second paragraph too, that's fine.
She points out that the seeker who has come to experience his oneness with the spiritual center in the cosmos has also experienced a slow and steady transcendence of his false and delusory identifications with the 5 sheaths. He realizes, stage by stage, the self made of food, the self made of prana, the self made of mind, the self made of intellect, and the self made of bliss, as the transcendences of which he comes to live and experience the pure attributeless self, which has been described in section 7 as the Brahman, who is invisible, incorporeal, undefined, and abodeless.
So, main thing he's telling over here is that, our philosophy does not believe in that, this word post, whatever, I don't even know how to say it, posthumous means after death. There is that joke is there, no? That if you don't believe in Jesus, you go to heaven. And then one little kid got up and said, but you have to die to go to heaven. I don't want to die. So, our thing says, hey, इधर ही सब कुछ मिल जाएगा. Death तो होती रहेगी. Don't worry about that. So that's what it's saying. We don't believe in that after that. We believe now. And like Nikhilanand ji said, who knows what is going to happen? मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा, क्या होगा? I don't know. I want to know now what I can do. That's what it is. And then he's saying that we are more practical. That's why he's saying that we not after leaving the world. And then so that's what the Shruti means. All these Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and all say that. And it is telling you how to do it. And that is when there's Panchakoshas are there, that these are, false and delusory identifications. That they are, when we hang on to these things, our body, mind, intellect, Karan, Sharir and all that, they are delusory identification. And when we drop that, we get established in that Brahman. And then it's talking about the definition given here in Taittiriya Upanishad. Invisible, incorporeal, means doesn't have a body, undefined and abodeless. And you have to go back to that verse if you want to read that again sometime on your own. But we get established in that. And this is what I think Falguni ji was asking. At that pure level, these are called indicative definitions, because you cannot define God by one word. But you indicate and then you go in that direction and then you get it. With God's grace only we will get that experience. Yeah.
There's a last paragraph. This courageous declaration is not an independent intellectual hypothesis of the rishis, but it is fully supported by the Vedika declarations and entirely endorsed by the rishis' own subjective experience. The Ved mantra is quoted in the following section.
So anything that Lord Krishna said, anything that is in Upanishad, it is pure, peer-reviewed things. Like they say, in this modern world, scientists लोग बोलते हैं ना कि हे तुमने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया किसी और ने करके देखा कि नहीं, सेम रिजल्ट आना चाहिए, peer review जर्नल में होना चाहिए उसका, then हम believe करेंगे. Just one person does experiment and says no, it's not going to work. Other people have to say yes, I did it too, it worked. And that's what he's saying, that whatever they are saying over here, it is endorsed by the Veda, because there are so many. Vedas is not written by not even written, bolna chahiye, is not manifested by one rishi. There are multiple rishis. It's all compiled together, everything. Upanishads are part of the Vedas. And so it's not like one person said it and we have to believe. Hundreds of rishis came to the same conclusion, the same experience, and then they declared this. And when Krishna Bhagavan talks in Bhagavad Gita, he many times he will, so that Arjuna understands, he said, wise people say this, Vedas say this, Rishi Muni say it. That's what I'm repeating. तो उन्होंने भी अपने ऊपर नहीं लिया सब कुछ, because कोई बोलेगा, why should I just believe in Lord Krishna? Okay, there are 100 other people. Believe the majority of them, the wise people. That's why they are saying that. It's a very important statement. Okay. We have to read this footnote. This is very interesting. You have that, right? The note?
इसमें नहीं है हमारी.
नहीं है. जो the rishi in the lesson, वो सब नहीं है. Next page पे देखो आप.
इसमें खत्म हो जाती.
Who has this book, old one?
I have it.
Okay, you read it, Meena.
Notes are there. Note is there. I mean, this is a big note. It's not even small.
It's like take a half a page.
Yeah.
Naresh, ये आपकी book में नहीं है?
I don't have it either.
Okay. Okay, everybody listen now, because this is very interesting one, what analysis Swamiji did. Then Meena ji will read it.
Okay, note. The Rishi in this lesson, section 8, is giving us mythological scale of bliss. Earthly existence is full of suffering, which generates a longing for deliverance. All religions believe that God and angels are free from such human limitations. Upanishad roars that the Godhead is not a being, full of bliss, but bliss itself. Such is Brahman.
Okay, so what they are saying, that the reason that the Rishi Muni, took this worldly scale to make us understand, because on this earth, in this Mrityu Lok, we have all these problems of the body. It gets old, and then we have sorrow, pain, this, that. But when they talk about Swarga Lok and all that, those problems are not there. So it's like maja is there, So everybody wants to go. That's why you do so many, yagya, yaga and all that. Oh, I want all the heavenly things. But what they are saying is that we are not looking for some bliss, but that Brahman is bliss itself. Once you get there, there is, usme just like Joe was saying, there is no opposite of it. There is sorrow ka to sawal hi nahi hai. It's like something like you become a sugar yourself. Where is the room for bitterness or sour taste in it then? No room for it. Possibility khatam ho gayi. I mean, imagine. That's what it's trying to take you to, that level. That the possibility of sorrow hoegi nahi. That's what it is.
The best human happiness, say, of a wise and healthy world sovereign is a trillionth part of the bliss of Brahma. Human and divine Gandharvas, Pitras,
Ajana Deva.
Jana Devas, Karma Devas, Devas Indra, Brahaspati, and Prajapati have 10,000, a million, 100 million, 10,000 million, a billion, 100 billion, 10,000 billion, and a million billion times respectively. More joy than that of the best man.
I lost the count. I don't even know what is million, billion, how many. He actually calculated, because it said 100 times more, 100 times more, 100 times more. We lose count, but Swamiji actually did the calculation. So the last Brahma ji ka jo hai na, million, billion times more happiness. I can't even fathom that. Because we get too excited with this. We love to be in this worldly bliss, or whatever you call happiness, not even bliss. So he's just saying that this is what they are saying, but then see how next paragraph he says.
However, from this analysis, it would be wrong to conclude that sensuous joy multiplied by given times would work up to divine bliss. Spiritual joy is quantitatively on a different plane than worldly joys. Even the joy of Brahma, the Creator, although pure and great, cannot be the bliss, which is the supreme reality.
That's what Joe was saying, exactly, that it is on a different plane. And that's what Swamiji is also saying, that the worldly things can just give us some indication, but it is not what it is. So, हम लोग तो खाली वो सोच के ही खुश हो सकते हैं अभी इस वक्त. We don't even know what that is,
Even the definition Satchit Ananda,
Yeah.
that Ananda itself is that
Yeah.
supreme reality.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why somebody was saying that God is Anand, Anand is God. And when it's very interesting that there is I don't know when the verse has already come or it's going to come in Bhagavad Gita, where I think it has already come, where he says that if you follow this path, of kind of listening and then contemplating and nididhyasana meditating, and finally you get joy as or a bliss as a prasad. Prasad, when we take prasad, we think it's something physical we have to eat, but in the Vedantic sense, whenever we feel happiness, it's God
Yes.
only. We are experiencing
it
God.
is.
Yeah, it's a prasad. Yes. And then they make it sweet. Prasad always, they try to make it some meetha. So when we put them out, but actually just a symbolic thing.
Yeah, it is prasad. I mean, when I understand something, even the chapter,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So, wow, this is it. And every time, this is it. Every time I read
Yes,
it,
that's a glimpse of God you're getting.
yeah. So that is so wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. And then it said that for further reading, go to Brihad Aryanaka Upanishad. Somebody had mentioned that Upanishad last time, and I was saying I saw it somewhere. That's where it was in the footnote. Because I think that's where maybe it has a more explanation. Maybe that will be the next Upanishad for us. I don't know. So, any question or comment, or anybody wants to add anything?
this was missing from the new book, Amaji. altogether.
What I will do, I'll take a picture of it and I will post it. So you can read it at your leisure. Yeah, it is there. This is very interesting actually. Yeah. Because we did not calculate and Swamiji did. The last part was million, billion times. We don't even say this term in our... हम लोग बिलियन ट्रिलियन तक चुप हो जाते हैं बस. You know. उसके बाद I don't know what it is. And then they have come up with some word. This, young people say gazillion, whatever that means. No end to it, like infinite.
See, it's infinite, but it's the capacity of your body, what you can take. And as you grow more, you find higher and higher. So till you merge, that is the point here.
Yeah. And obviously, you cannot compare all these. What he was trying to say is that whether you go up to Brahmaji also, it is all limited. And you're talking about infinity, Infinity is like, and we all crave for infinity because we are infinite by nature. That's why we crave for it. We always want to, that's why nothing satisfies you in the world. किसने बोला पूरा दुनिया का राजा बन जा, हाँ तो क्या? कितने लोगों के पास सब कुछ होता है फिर वो सब छोड़ देते हैं. We hear those stories, right? That they still felt like, and then they found happiness in, like doing some seva, doing something and all that, and they found there's some bliss over there. So any other point in this, or should I go a little bit further or not? What do you guys say? We have 10 minutes. Okay, we can try to start at least.
Actually, Amaji, this section 9 is very little, so it's only like 2 paragraphs.
There is on some ways there is nothing little over here because the reason they did only 2 paragraphs because this verse of section 9 has come before, word to word except the last word. It is come before. So Swamiji has given an exhaustive commentary already, and he says over here, go back and read that. So that's why he didn't write over here. So anyway, we'll just start a little bit and then we can continue next time. So it says, this verse has come before. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan na vibheti kutaschana iti. Yata is from which, vacha means all words, nivartante returns, vani jisko bolte hain, vacha is more vani, aprapya without reading, manasa saha along with the mind. So the mind and the speech cannot describe it. That's what actually this whole thing means. Anandam, bliss. Brahmana is Brahman. Vidwan, the one who knows. The one who knows the Brahman as a bliss. That person, na vibheti, is not afraid. That person is not fearless ban jata hai wo. Kutaschana of anything. Iti das. So the previous verse में उन्होंने बोला था कि वो ना no time he is fearful. उसमें time word use किया था. When this chapter 2 section 4, I think it was first verse or something. Not first verse, but whichever. It was in section 4 of chapter 2. The same exact verse, but the last word was different. There it said, anytime he doesn't get fearful, और यहाँ पर बोल दिया anything. किसी भी चीज़ से उसमें टाइम भी आ गया और उसको एक्सपेंड कर दिया उन्होंने. Okay, so that's what this is, and I don't want to repeat the whole thing because we already did that, but in nutshell what it is saying is there are a few points that maybe I can talk about. So the context is slightly different because at that time the reason they brought that verse before, because they were talking about mind. And what Swamiji said, that the students are very eager to know. Hey, what is Brahman? What is Brahman? And they are hoping that the teacher will point out, oh, this is Brahman, or describe it somehow and all that. And they wanted to shatter that idea into their head. That's why they ये वाला बीच में डाल दिया थोड़ा सा glimpse देने के लिए कि you have to transcend the body, mind and intellect, because by body, mind and intellect you will not be able to grasp that Brahman. And the same thing we saw in Bhagavad Gita. What did Krishna Bhagavan say? That, the Devatas and the Maharshis also cannot know me because I'm behind them. Same idea over here also. The speech cannot describe Bhagavan. The mind cannot grasp Bhagavan. And that's what it is. So some other points, let's see. I did make some notes from Nikhilanandji. So he said that when they talk about Brahman, they are talking about that pure Anand, like we talked about, right? And so he was just saying that it's a Sat Chit Anand. So Sat is also Brahman, Chit is also Brahman, Anand is also Brahman. So it is the same. And he's saying the one who realizes this kind of Brahman with Sat Chit Anand, and then he's saying that person is not just happy, he becomes happiness himself. Remember we talked about it? You are eating sugar and now you become sugar yourself. So there's no room for any bitterness. So one who gets abidance in this Brahma, and then that's what happens. And how do you gain that? By listening, contemplating and meditating. Nididhyasan. You get abidance. That's the path. And this is where we talked about it, that the Vani or the speech does not reach. So this is a poetic way of saying it. कि वहाँ पर तुम्हारी वाणी पहुँच ही नहीं पाती है. All is trying to say that you cannot describe it. That's a poetic way of saying it. And the mind also. Like they say in Vedanta, you hit a wall. You can't go beyond it. If you try to grasp Bhagwan with the mind, you will hit a wall. That's why जो लोग बहुत logical होते हैं ना, उन लोग की बस की बात नहीं है वेदांत. वो बहुत frustrate हो जाते हैं. Argue करना शुरू कर देंगे, and then one day they'll just drop the book. It's all nonsense. करके भाग जाएंगे. So ज़्यादा logic थोड़ा सा रखो. It's important, very important logic, but you cannot grasp it, the entire logic. That's what it is. And then he was saying that the speaker tries to speak about Brahman. All the swamis and all, they give their pravachan and all that, but the reality is they can only do a limited job. Nobody can grasp it. So how do you grasp Brahman? We have to experience it. Not with these things. And he was just saying that another way of looking at it, Brahman is not within the scope of our mind, intellect, and senses. And so he's very good at giving some good example. How do I understand this concept? I like this. Maybe I'll talk about that, and then we can stop after that. So he said that it's something like, suppose a scenario is there. This person, he dropped ek talab hai samjho. He dropped a ring in there. His gold ring fell in the talab. So now he has to go inside, and it's a little deep. He has to swim inside and he has to pick up that ring. So he goes into the water, and then before he reaches the ring, he kind of loses his breath or something. So he has to come up. And he has to take a breath. And then he says, I saw the ring when I was down there. So kisi ne bola, why didn't you say it? He's saying, when I was down there, I couldn't talk. Because if I will talk, all the water will go into. Means his speech was not available to him. I thought that was such a brilliant example he gave. So when his speech is available to him, he can't see the ring. So he said that that's what hamara haal hai. That the people who experience cannot talk about it, and if you're talking about it, you don't have the experience. So I thought he gave a very brilliant example. So basically, he just said that when he went down, he got the experience of the ring. Hey, but you don't require equipments to have the experience. His speech was not available to him, but he still had the experience. And then he also gave a very good example of sleep. He's saying, we don't know what sleep is. Have we seen sleep? Bolo. If somebody said describe sleep, we will mumble and fumble and we'll say, but all of us have experience of, why we cannot describe, because of our mind, intellect, senses, body, nothing is available in this sleep. But we all know we sleep, and when we sleep peacefully, we are very happy. And we get up and say, oh, today I slept so well. How do you know? Because you had the experience. So if we can talk about sleep like that, what Nikhilanandji said, Brahman is subtler than sleep. So that's what it is. Go beyond that also. Otherwise, that was fantastic. That's why we cannot describe Brahman. So it cannot be described, it cannot be seen with the mind. And that's why they said the language that comes back. So then what did he say? He said that one who realizes not as an object, but as my own self, I experience it. Such a person becomes free of fear. Because he said that fear is always of somebody else. The whole psychology of fear is that when you see something different from you, you become fearful. Whenever you see if you have that notion of difference, that causes fear. And he actually said that what we have is a problem we have a misunderstanding that I'm different. God is different, world is different. And Vedanta takes you to this realm that God, you, and what you call world, all is one only. It's a manifestation of world. So, and then what Nikhilanandji said something very interesting. He said, जो ये वर्ल्ड है ना, संसार जिसको बोलते हैं, हिंदी में वर्ड है ना संसार, या उर्दू में दुनिया, they call it. He's saying there's nothing but fear here. Think about it, that everything is propelled by fear here. Or, like young people, if I don't go to the job tomorrow, I cannot bring bread on the table, right? Fear, and then, fear of this, fear of that, fear of sorrow. And I always say that America mein to everything is driven by fear. This whole insurance industry, nothing but fear mongering. Ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, And even the health insurance wala it's a fear. So if you go in the analysis, that and then we had that whole verse, right? That how these phenomenal forces they work out of fear because boss is standing behind. So to become fearless is to go to that oneness. Then your fear drops completely. And who doesn't want to be fearless? Just like same thing like happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? Who doesn't want to be fearless? And that you can only gain with that highest, connecting to that highest. That's a great goal, he was just saying. So that's the kind of little additional stuff, but we can just continue next time. And then he also said, the last line he said in his commentary was, the one who gains that knowledge becomes free of sorrow. Fear, sorrow, all these things are kind of connected to each other, right? And that's exactly what Krishna Bhagavan was telling Arjuna, that if you want to be free of sorrow, then you get this Atmagyan, which we are trying to strive at the same thing. Any comment, question? I guess everybody has a little smile, so Neeluji, you have something to say? No? Okay. All right. So I hope, I don't know the gentleman you talked about, but a lot of people know. I hope he feels better. Yeah. So we will see you next time. I will do the closing prayer if nobody has any other question or comment.
Are we meeting next week? I know Chinmay Mission is closed. Are we meeting next
So what is the date next week?
18th.
It's up to us. How many people want to do the class next week, and how many? If most of you don't want to do, then I can, I am going to be around. I don't mind doing. We can take 1 week off if you want, rather than 2.
But Umaji, Christmas is on 25th, so next week is not a Christmas week, right?
Yeah, that's why I was saying.
Yeah,
That-
so 18th we are meeting for sure, right?
I don't know. If all of you are available, I'll be happy to do it. Most of you are available?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why don't I say ulta? Who doesn't want to do it next week?
I attended the class after a long time. I love to be there.
Kamla ji, we have missed you so much.
I know.
So we need the good vibrations of yours.
See you, Kamla ji. See.
So I'm so happy. I when I saw, I said, "Ha, Kamla ji is back."
I gained so much weight during this trip, and I love this class and this class vibration. Really, really.
Thank you, Kamla ji. So yeah, hope to see you more now.
Today.
Huh? Sorry.
I said I'm so happy to be connected today.
Wonderful. We are equally happy to have you. So let's do it next week,
Okay.
and then we'll take off the week after that. How about that? Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchit dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Everybody have a great week.
You too. Thank you. Hari Om.
Stay healthy, happy, and we'll see you next time.